slowing down and having double the amount of time to think and double the amount of time for confirmation is huge.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then if you zoom out even further, say like, for example, entering off the 5 or the 15, like that market structure becomes more and more valid.
Yasin, you were once a 1 minute time frame trader. Why do you hate it so much?
Not even long ago, yeah.
Why do you hate 1 minute time frame so much?
I saw a couple of traders that I follow in the space and I really like, and they're legit. Like they show everything. They had a couple of videos of them talking about what was the thing that moved the needle the most for them. Like what was that one thing that changed for them, and once that changed for them, everything changed for them. And so many traders just said like zooming out and focusing on just higher time frames and like bigger market structure and like don't
like what time frames?
15 minute and above. So using like 15-minute zones, 1 hour zones, 4 hour zones. I'd use a lot of them zones, but I'd take my confirmations from like a 1 minute time frame. And what happens to me is like sometimes I get the perfect entry and like it's phenomenal. But more often than not I just get faked out like constantly as well. And then what happens is like, okay, I get my 1 minute signal, boom, stopped out.
But is that while you're using the 15-minute zones? Or is that just you zooming in on the 1 minute?
It's me using zones, pre-market highs and lows, like pivot levels, zones, whatever it is. But I take that 1 minute confirmation as my confirmation for the trade, and I just get stopped out.
So what do you mean? How do you change it? What's the best thing to do?
Look at higher time frame confirmations.
Confirmations?
So for example, instead of taking my 1 minute confirmation, which could be like a candle closing above the zone or the level or whatever it is that like triggers my trade, instead of doing that, use like a 2 minute at least, 2 minute, 3 minute or 5 minute. And then what happens when I do that is my entry signal is stronger. My entry is slightly worse than it would have been. My stop loss is slightly wider, but my win rate is so much higher. And with that is what happens is I end up taking less trades, but my trades are much more accurate.
So does that mean if you go up to 5 minutes, is that the best one?
I don't think there's a best or worse one. I don't think there's a best one. I just think the 1 minute one, the 1 minute in particular is the worst one because you could have an entry signal every single minute.
Yeah.
And then that's just so much like you're hyper focused on every single candle, whatever it may be. Because it's only 1 minute candle, there's just so many fake outs. You could have 3 candles, close above your level on the 1 minute, and then the next 2 just like completely reverse on you or like completely get sold. And then it's just another fake out for you on the 5 minute. But if you waited on the 5 minute, you're just protected because the trade is invalidated before you would have ever even thought about it.
Yeah, so it's a little bit more safety.
But that's what it is. Your entry signals just become so much stronger.
What's the difference in your entries now? Is there a different confirmation?
So say for example, on some trades in my system, the confirmation is literally like a close above the level. That's good enough for me. A lot of the time, the close above the level would just get faked out. The close above the level would get faked out and I'm covering structure, but it would follow like the greater market structure was 5 minute, 15 or whatever it may be. That fake out on the 1 minute would still follow along the structure on the 5 or the 15 minute. For me, thinking it's a perfect entry on the 1 minute, it's actually way too early of an entry on the 5 minute. Now, for waiting for the 5 minute or even the 2 minute just to like align up with the 5 minute, I take much less trades, but they're just better quality setups. That's the biggest thing that now I can see changing in my trading. And it's just so simple, but it's like just waiting that little bit longer. I'm not going to miss this trade because I used to always think it's like, oh, I'm going to miss this trade. That's why I would enter off the 1 minute. But now I realize that that's where most people get trapped. They're like, a lot of people trade the 1 minute. And some, like, I'm not saying don't trade the 1 minute. If you're a scalper and you're having good success with this, but for me, trading the way I trade, like waiting that little bit longer for the further confirmation sometimes does give me a worse entry. But again, my stop loss takes care of that. So although it's slightly worse, it's still, it's a confirmed trade rather than an early entry. It increases my win rate and it causes me to take less trades.
Can you still hold the same RR?
Yeah.
How does that make sense?
How do I hold the same RR? I'll usually trade like either from level to level or from zone to zone.
So if there's no RR enough to the next zone,
As long as I can take a 1-to-1, I can take it. If it's less than that, I can't take that trade.
so if someone still wants to trade in 1 minute, what would you advise?
I'd ask them.
Because I still like it.
I would ask them if they were to look back at their 100 trades. I would ask them what would happen to their win rate if they literally just changed that 1 minute time frame to a 2 minute time frame. So instead of entering off the 1, just enter off a 2 minute confirmation. I just would like to see, did their win rate improve or did it get worse? Or did it stay the exact same? For me, I've noticed that it's improving dramatically. I take less trades and I win more trades. It's perfect for me. Now it's not going to be the same for everyone's system, but slowing down and having double the amount of time to think and double the amount of time for confirmation is huge.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then if you zoom out even further, say like, for example, entering off the 5 or the 15, like that market structure becomes more and more valid because that's the way it works, I guess. I don't have to explain it. Like less being more is what we always preach. Like not having an entry signal every few minutes helps like to keep you calm as a trader and focusing on less trades in a session. Because even, for example, going from the 1 minute to the 2 minute, if you trade in the 2 hours, you already have less setups that could be valid.
So why don't you just trade a 15-minute time frame then and just screw the other ones? If you say that one is more powerful.
Because right now the way I'm trading is a day trade. So I'm not leaving trades overnight. I'm just in and out within my session, that's it. Once I go back to higher time frames and I leave trades overnight, I used to do that, I can do that again. But in a 2 hour session, I'm only going to get 8 15-minute bars. So I'm not going to take a 15-minute trade in a 2 hour session.
Yeah, that's a good explanation.
To wrap things up, the 1 minute time frame could be great for some traders. I think just for my system, and I think for a lot of people they should try this, but slowing down and not having an entry signal every single minute could help you calm down, think more about the quality of your setups. But more importantly, you're not going to have FOMO every minute. Do you know, it's like, oh, here's a big candle, small candle, big candle. You just look at, like, you slow down a little bit, you look at structure, and you're actually waiting for a longer period of a candle closure. And then yes, like your stop loss will be a bit bigger or whatever it may be, but you're just going to size down accordingly, keep your size the same as you always would. And then your trade may take a little bit longer to play out. It might not, but I think over time it'll help you